The 2025 Formula One season was meant to mark Lando Norris's rise to greatness. After clinching his long-awaited maiden victory in Miami last year, paired with a resurgent McLaren and years of dedication to the team from Woking, many believed the stars were finally aligning for the British driver to claim his place at the top of the sport. But just 5 races in, that script has been completely rewritten, and not by the usual suspects like Red Bull or Ferrari. Instead, the shakeup has come from within McLaren's own garage, quietly and mercilessly led by Oscar Piastri. While early season predictions centered around Norris, it's Piastri who has seized the spotlight, notching 3 impressive wins, including consecutive triumphs that now place him firmly atop the championship standings. The Formula One world has taken notice. McLaren fans find themselves torn. And Lando? He's no longer the team's clear frontrunner. He's being eclipsed by the very teammate he was expected to dominate. What once seemed like a united campaign for championship glory has morphed into an intense internal rivalry, a battle for control and legacy within McLaren. If you live and breathe Formula One, now's the time to tune in. The drama unfolding at McLaren could very well decide not just who takes the 2025 title, but which of these 2 young stars shapes the future of the sport. To fully grasp how we got here, we need to rewind past the opening laps of 2025 to a defining chapter in 2024, the Miami Grand Prix. That race wasn't just Lando's breakthrough win. It was also the moment Piastri quietly fired his first shot, not through words, but through raw pace. McLaren came into that weekend on the back foot, struggling to gain momentum. What happened next changed everything. It was no secret that the McLaren MCL38 arrived in Miami undercooked. The team openly admitted it was behind in development, but upgrades were promised, and they delivered, albeit selectively. With limited parts and time, McLaren could only equip 1 car with the new performance package. That car belonged to Lando Norris. On paper, Norris held all the cards. A fully upgraded machine estimated to be around 0.2 of a second, quicker per lap than its baseline counterpart. But when it came to the stopwatch, it was Oscar Piastri who made jaws drop. In sprint qualifying with the older spec car, Piastri outpaced Norris by 0.311 seconds. Adjusted for the machinery difference, McLaren engineers calculated that Oscar had actually driven over half a second quicker. In Formula One, that's not just an edge, it's a chasm. And the shock didn't end there. When the race lights went out, Piastri didn't waste a moment. He leapt past Norris on the opening lap, then set about carving his way through the field. He overtook Leclerc with precision, chased down Verstappen with intent, and found himself leading when Red Bull blinked first and pitted early. It looked like a career-defining performance until fate intervened. A safety car swung the race in Norris's favor, giving him the perfect window for a pit stop. The timing was brutal. Lando emerged in front and held the lead to the finish. Piastri, who had been the stronger driver all weekend, was left to wonder what might have been. That day in Miami split the narrative in 2. For Norris, it was a long-awaited victory, proof that he could win. For Piastri, it was the moment his quiet brilliance turned heads. And perhaps the moment frustration began to simmer. But more than anything, it forced McLaren to face a new reality. They didn't just have a quick car, they had 2 ferociously quick drivers, both hungry for wins, both ready to lead, and both unwilling to play second fiddle. Wait, hold on. Did you know that 99% of you watching right now aren't subscribed? If you enjoy my content and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. It takes just a second, but it means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Join the family and let's grow together. Now back to the story. Jump ahead to today, 12 months after that pivotal Miami showdown, and Oscar Piastri has completely flipped the script. The 2025 season was meant to be Lando Norris's crowning moment. After years of loyalty, consistent performances, and a breakthrough win, he entered the year as the championship favorite. It was supposed to be his time. But just 5 races in, it's Piastri who sits atop the standings. Not by chance, but by sheer speed and unshakable precision. Let's look at the numbers. Of the 5 Grand Prix so far this year, Oscar has won 3. He's the only driver with multiple victories, including a streak of back-to-back wins, and holds a 10-point lead in the championship. But here's what's really impressive. He's been dominant at circuits where, in previous years, he was average at best. That tells us something important. Oscar Piastri has evolved. Gone are the flashes of inconsistency from his rookie and sophomore seasons. What remains is a calm, razor-sharp competitor, one who now looks every bit like a future world champion. And Lando? He hasn't been slow. That's what makes this sting. He's been right there, just a step behind. He's landed podiums in Bahrain and China, showed promise in Saudi Arabia. But those efforts have been eclipsed by Piastri's brilliance. In the last 2 rounds, the frustration has started to show. He's not losing to reliability issues or bad strategy. He's being beaten, straight up, by the guy in the garage next door. This isn't just McLaren versus Red Bull anymore. It's a civil war brewing inside McLaren's own walls. A power struggle between 2 rising stars, each capable of leading the team to glory. And we've seen this movie before. Senna versus Prost, Hamilton versus Rosberg, Vettel versus Webber. Teams always begin with harmony, equal cars, shared goals. But once the championship becomes real, that balance crumbles. Politics enter the picture. Strategies start to lean. Upgrades arrive just a little sooner for one car. Pit stop priorities shift. Trust breaks down, and that's when rivalries explode. Is McLaren heading down the same path? Team principal Andrea Stella has tried to maintain balance, praising both drivers publicly, celebrating Oscar's pace while recognizing Lando's experience and leadership. But beneath the surface, cracks are starting to form. Paddock whispers suggest Norris has privately raised concerns. Is he still the team's top priority? Or has Piastri quietly become the new favorite? It's worth remembering. Piastri is locked in on a long-term deal. McLaren sees him as a foundational piece of their future. He's composed, blindingly fast, and rarely puts a foot wrong. He doesn't complain, he just delivers. That kind of quiet efficiency, paired with a winning car, creates unstoppable momentum. And in a cruel twist of fate, it's Norris, the driver who stood by McLaren through their rebuilding years, who now risks being left behind. He said no to Red Bull. He turned down talks with Mercedes. He believed in the McLaren project. And now, as that vision finally bears fruit, he's watching someone else reap the rewards. Lando Norris's stronghold at McLaren is no longer secure. And the irony is almost poetic. In Formula One, power isn't lost overnight. It's eroded from within. And right now, Oscar Piastri is the one doing the eroding. As we head into the heart of the season, Piastri is entering the phase of the calendar where he's historically strongest. Last year, during the European leg, he was the highest point scorer. He nearly claimed pole in Monaco, charged through the field in Imola, and was a fixture in the top 4. Now, armed with a better car, sharper instincts, and surging confidence, he's shaping up to be an unstoppable force, and the numbers back it up. Since Miami 2024, McLaren has scored nearly 200 more points than Red Bull. They've leapfrogged Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes in the development race. What was once a half-second qualifying gap to Red Bull has evaporated. Today, McLaren is arguably the fastest team over a single lap. A dramatic shift in the power structure of modern F1. All of this sets the stage for one of the most emotionally charged moments of the season, the 2025 Miami Grand Prix. Last year, this was Norris's moment, the place where he finally took his maiden win. For Piastri, it was heartbreak, robbed of victory by a poorly timed safety car. Now, 1 year later, everything has changed. Norris returns to Miami under pressure, searching for redemption. Piastri arrives with momentum, composure, and a score to settle. Imagine the outcome if Piastri wins here, at the very circuit that defined Lando's breakthrough. It would not just extend Oscar's title lead, it would reshape the psychology of the team. Would Norris regroup and fight back? Or would doubts begin to take root? Would McLaren shift more decisively in favor of their rising star? And if they do, where does that leave Lando? And here's the real danger. If Norris begins to feel marginalized, how long before he starts looking elsewhere? Mercedes still needs a long-term replacement for Hamilton. Red Bull may not stick with Perez much longer. And let's not forget Audi, entering the sport in 2026 with deep pockets and a clear ambition to sign a marquee driver. Norris has options, but keeping him at McLaren will require more than loyalty. It will take results. It will take a clear, uncontested path to a championship. And every time Piastri wins, that path gets narrower. From a fan's perspective, this is pure gold. A fast car, two elite talents, and a rivalry that's just beginning to simmer. For McLaren, it's a dream wrapped in a strategic nightmare. They must keep both drivers motivated without letting internal tension fracture the team. But this is Formula One. Equilibrium is temporary, and rivalries always find a way to the surface. So what happens next? If Piastri wins Miami, the balance shifts even more. If Norris fights back, the title battle gets fiercer. Either way, this is no longer just a contest of points, this is a war of pride, legacy, and long-term allegiance. It's about who McLaren bets their future on, and who risks being left behind. So, are we witnessing the rise of a new king at McLaren or the beginning of Norris's redemption arc? Comments below. And once you're done, don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe my channel.